Welcome to another video. We are going to make rough puff pastry. And the reason why we're going to do that is because I had a request from my father-in-law to make Aussie meat pies, Australian meat pies. And I had a couple thoughts about that. I looked up a few recipes, and there's a part of the community that does like short crust pastry and then puff pastry on top, and then the majority do just all puff pastry. And I thought, hey, I have some skill. I'll just make puff pastry. But then I looked into it, and I don't know if I have that much skill, but I do have skill for rough puff pastry. And I think this will be like the happiest medium between both camps, because I don't want to make two doughs for Australian meat pies, and I don't want to make puff pastry. So I'm going to utilize rough puff pastry. And if you want to know where I got this technique, it's from, of course, Claire Saffitz, who is a dessert person, and she came up with this technique, and I think it's brilliant. So what we have here is 1.5 cups of refrigerated butter and 1.5 cups of frozen butter. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this back in the freezer because we need to keep this really cold. Now, what we have is 3.5 cups of all-purpose flour. To that, we're going to add, this is a 2 tablespoon measure, 2 tablespoons of sugar, and it's not going to make the dough sweet. It's going to help with caramelization, which makes the dough attractive and taste good. And then 1.5, that's a 1 teaspoon measure, 1.5 teaspoons of kosher salt. Mix this together. Be sure to get this pretty well tossed in because it's pretty much the last time you're going to have to make sure everything's evenly distributed. All right. Now what we're going to do is slice this butter into pretty thin slices, and then we're going to put it in the refrigerator to keep cold. The reason why we're doing this is, the reason why we're doing this is, I don't know if you've ever made pie crust or biscuits, but the thing that makes things flaky is how the butter is structured in the flour with the moisture. And so what Claire says is that if you make these thin slices of butter, right, they're not going to fully melt or incorporate into the flour, and they're going to create gaps that when the pastry cooks creates flaky layers. So this may seem like a step too far, but it really is going to help you create a flaky pastry. Now, of course, you could go out and buy puff pastry, which is what a lot of people do when they make Australian meat pies, because I think the concept is to be like simple and easy with an Australian meat pie. And I could do that, but I was so intrigued by maybe the merit of this because I haven't seen a recipe yet with rough puff pastry and Australian meat pies, and there's probably a good reason for that. We might find out what that is, but we're just gonna go. Okay, so that's pretty well thin. I mean, it's like 1/8 of an inch, maybe thin. We're going to put this back in the fridge. Everything has to stay cold. There we go, and then this is the 1.5 cups of frozen butter. What we're gonna do is we're gonna grate it into the flour. And I think this is meant to assist the slices of butter. So you have like a couple of strata in your dough. You have sort of these micro chunks of butter, and then you have the slices. And she says because of that, you'll have these strata in your dough that will ensure that the dough is flaky when you bake it. So it's a cup and a half of frozen butter and a cup and a half of sliced butter. I'm gonna just leave this nub so I don't hurt myself, and then I'm gonna go put that in the refrigerated butter. Look behind you and see. Does Mimi approve?
Does Mimi, let's see. Do you have any opinions, Miss Sam? Would you like to comment on the puff pastry? No. Howard? Any opinions on puff pastry, sir? Are you pro rough puff pastry or store-bought?
So there we have lovely little pieces of frozen butter. So you're just going to go ahead and toss that in. And then...
I've never seen that done before. I've actually never seen someone grate butter.
Yeah. And I'm going to put the slices in. I'm going to get the slices from the fridge in a second. I'm just going to cut these into slices or chunks. It doesn't really matter, but if you do it this way, like, your fingers won't get sliced, which is important because these things love to kill fingers. Okay. Here's our sliced butter. There we go. All right, so now go ahead and toss your sliced butter into the flour. They're still pretty cold, which is exciting. Okay, so this part we're about to do next is a little unclear to me, so we're going to discover it together. So what she said is this is ice water and there's no particular amount. What you want to do is add, I'm going to start with 6 tablespoons of ice water. So this is 4, 6. And then you're going to toss it around. And what you're looking for is for it to start to hold together. We're not there yet, but I also want to make sure that the water is evenly distributed. Let's do, so right now we're at 10 tablespoons. Oh, we're getting there. You can feel that the water goes to certain areas. It's not going to the center, so we're going to try that next. So now we're going to put this is 4 more, so we'll be at 14. 14. Okay. We'll just edit the numbers out if we can't count. All right, so this is kind of what we're doing here. So as you can see, It's starting to hold together, but there's still, if I hold it up, like there's still some really floury bits, like way down there. See, so we're gonna get some water in that. So this will be 16 tablespoons altogether. And I think that'll do us. Yep. Okay, so she says now what you want to do is just create a bunch like that. Okay? And bunch it together. Now you can see there's still floury bits. She also says it's better to overhydrate your dough than underhydrate. So this is another, we're at 18 tablespoons so far. Okay. And 20, oops, got the water everywhere. Maybe 19 altogether. You got to be careful because every flour is different, every butter content is different. There we go. Okay. Now, get your bench scraper. Get all your bits together. And we're going to take our bench flour. Leave that out. Put this here. We're going to mush it together. You don't really want to knead it traditionally, per se. What you want to do is get it in an agreeable like mess here. Like it's all holding together, and I think that looks really good. As she said, it's better to overhydrate your dough than underhydrate it. That looks really good. There, all right. So now we're going to get out our plastic wrap. I'm in the Claire camp. I hate plastic wrap because it sticks to nothing but itself. But it's extremely necessary in this case. So mine isn't even wide enough. Okay, so I'll do that. See, this is why we hate it. So you're going to move all of this into here. We'll take the flour with it. It can take it. It's all going to absorb into the flour and the water. Because what happens after this, after we shape it, we're going to put it in the fridge for about an hour. Okay. This. You see, we barely handled it. Barely at all. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to shape it into a rectangle. Push it, and theoretically this plastic wrap will help you with that. But if it doesn't, your bench scraper creates beautiful straight sides. See, kind of a long square. And it also will finish off your kneading. So it'll force all of this flour and water and butter to become one complete mass. Okay. I'm going to call this good. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be cold, and you can't work it too much. So that's where we are. If you can take a look, looks pretty good. We've got a quadrangle going on here, sort of a diamond shape, but that's okay. So now we're going to put this in the refrigerator, and we'll see you in a couple hours. Just pulled it out of the refrigerator, and now what we're going to do is we're going to square this up even more. I put some flour down on the bench using my bench scraper. To get this together. So now what you want to do is press this out. So now we're going to roll this pretty long length when it all kind of smoothed out. What you don't want to do is heat up the butter, so you want to do this real slow and careful. Use this to square up the edges. So you can see there's like big chunks of butter all throughout. And that's what's going to create your layers. Because what we're going to do now is we're going to fold this in on itself. One-third on one. One-third on another. So now you can see you've got 1, 2, 3 layers, right? Big chunks of butter. Flip this over. Just hanging together, the same thing. I'm going to press it out. You don't want to traditionally roll it. You want to barely mess with it. Press the layers together. Press the flour together. Barely mess with it. Okay, I'm going to square up the edges again. I'm going to roll it. As you can see, I just pressed it out, and now I'm rolling it. There we go. Okay. Use the bench scraper again. Keep your edges together. You can see mine want to pop out. They want to get raggedy. One. Two. So now we got another set of layers. Barely touch it. You don't want the dough to heat up. You want it to stay cold. There you go. Okay. This is the last time I'm going to fold it, and last time I'm going to roll it. You can see it's starting to stretch back on itself. That means it's heating up. Not the end of the world, but you know you've come to the end of your playtime. Okay, last time. Okay, I'm gonna put this back in the plastic wrap we had. There we go. Put that there. Put that up. Roll that up. There we go. And we're gonna push this out to a fairly flat rectangle and let the plastic wrap do the work for you. Let it create the square. There, we got a really nice piece of rough puff pastry. We're gonna put this in the refrigerator because we're gonna make the Australian meat pies tomorrow. So I'm gonna give this a good long rest in the refrigerator till then. You have your rough puff pastry. So what you can see here is we have a range of ingredients that are going to go in our filling for the Aussie pie. This is the Kirkland brand Wagyu ground beef. You don't have to use this, but we have it and we really like it. And then, so what we're going to do is we're going to fry the ground beef with some onion. And then we're going to season it with the following. Salt, pepper, Worcester sauce, tomato, and then Vegemite, which makes it Aussie. And then if it needs to be thickened at all, I've got some all-purpose flour and some water. So if you want to know how I feel about Vegemite, go look up the Vegemite song by Amanda Palmer. Anyway, okay, so we're gonna start by browning the meat first because this meat has got a lot of fat in it, and so we're gonna start by getting it to render some of its fat first. And then I'm going to add the onions, and then I'm going to cook it all down pretty well first. I'm going to go ahead and cut this down and start getting it to granulize, if that's a word. As you can see, it started to render its fat, and it's going to render a lot of fat. So I'm going to go ahead and add these onions in. Then we're going to season with salt and pepper. Because of the Vegemite and the Worcester sauce, that'll probably be all the salt we'll need. So I'm saying that's probably less than a half of a teaspoon of salt. So we're going to cook these till the beef is brown and the onions are translucent. I'm going to say about 4 minutes. There we go. So we've got translucent onions. We've got the Wagyu that's brown. It's going to cook some more in a minute. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push all this to the side. And people say You should save this Wagyu fat, but we're not going to do that because we're going to drain it the redneck way. Take some paper towel. Has to be fresh, clean, right off the roll. But we're going to another great use for your spoon rest. Go. There you are. I'm going to put it back down in there just to get everything. All right. So now, these are canned tomatoes from our garden this summer. I'm going to drain these. They don't want to drain themselves. Come on, drain yourself. That's good enough. So what you would normally put in is tomato paste, and I could do that, but I have these, and I think because I'm making this for my father-in-law, he deserves this. There we go. So what this kind of means is it's got to all cook down and in the meat to make like a tomato paste. So we're going to let this go in here. And what we're going to do is put in about, this is a pound of Wagyu. We're going to put, I think, 1, 2, let's do 3 teaspoons of Worcester sauce. Gonna let this cook in. There we go. Okay, so we're letting that cook down. And then for the star of our show, how can you love Vegemite? It tastes like sadness. It tastes like batteries. It tastes like asses. Amanda, if you're out there, I once sang that vulgar song with all the words, in front of my mother and father-in-law because I said one of my favorite songs is about Vegemite, even though I don't eat it. So here you are, Mick. This is for you. This is Vegemite, and I hate it. So the recommended is a half a teaspoon. So we're just gonna go in. And in it goes. Now, we all reserve the right to put more in if necessary. But I'll just tell you right now, Vegemite's very salty, very powerful. And it might just do the trick for, it's already smelling amazing. Might just do the trick for this whole pie. But I have to cook this down a good amount because as you can see all the tomatoes still. And I need this to all kind of turn brown and get happy. So what we'll do is cook this down for about 5-10 minutes. And then I'm going to taste it, even though I hate Vegemite, and see where we are. Okay, now comes the time I've been dreading the most. Because now I have to taste it. It's really good, but it could use some more. That being said, I mean, I cannot hold a man so close who spreads this cancer on his toast. It is the Vegemite, my darling, or it's me. You have to make a freaking choice. I cannot sit with you at breakfast. The very thought of it obliterates my senses, and if that weren't bad enough, you also eat the crap for lunch, which means we can't spend any time together. What kind of a relationship is that? I'm sorry. Something came over me. I don't know what happened. Another half teaspoon.
I think you should go for a full teaspoon.
Well, this will be a full teaspoon.
Oh, you need more than that. You need more than that.
Well, you know what? I'm not eating them, so.
Yeah, trust me.
There we go. So what we're also going to do, since we leaned into it, I've decided, as you can see, the mince looks pretty dry, which is cool. It'll make a decent pie, but I think we should make a little gravy. So in a few seconds, once I get this remarkably delicious stuff that goes in mince, I am now converted myself. But the song is still freaking hilarious. I would never eat it on toast. You bet your bottom dollar. So there we go. All right, so now we're going to do, just hang with me a second. I'm going to put, I don't know, I think this is about a tablespoon and a half of all-purpose flour. Probably just a tablespoon at that point. We're going to cook this a little bit to get the floury flavor, but because you can see, like, it's got this beautiful rich brown color. And the gravy will absorb a lot of the saltiness of the Vegemite, but I think this is going to be hands down the best pie I've ever made. All right, so there we go. Now you add some water. Looks like there's going to be more needed. So what you want to do is make a gravy, right? And there we go. It's our gravy. Maybe a little more gravy. Be right back. So far it's about 6 tablespoons of water. In 1 pound of ground beef and a tablespoon, or just over a tablespoon, that looks good. See that gravy we made? Now what needs to happen is I'm going to get out a plate and put this in the fridge. Because we have to cool this to room temperature. We can't put this in the pie hot, so we're going to let this just chill on the counter for a while. All right, so if you look at the tiling on this pastry, we have perfect striation on the pastry dough. So we've got flour and butter doing this number, right? Making happy. So I cut this one out and fit it in here. It was too small. So I'm going to try this bowl. And see what it does. So you got to be really careful. You have to guide the pastry into the cup. Okay, so if you can take a look at this, what we want to do is cut around the outside to just here. So there we go. Okay, so I'm taking this and I'm putting it in the fridge. So it's waiting for me. Let's see. So I'm making a little plate of scraps. This is going straight in the fridge so it stays cold. Just guide it into the pastry pan. You can see it's going to fight you, but there we are.
And then this can serve as the top. Then.
Yeah, we're working on that in a second.
Yeah.
Just let me do two so I can show you what I'm about. Okay. You have to leave a good lip for the next step I'm about to show you. Okay, so everything is sticking to the side. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to create a lid. This lid will be perfect, but here it is right here. So we got two lids. Then what we're going to do is take out the meat pie. Here's the meat pie filling. Just so you get the idea, right? So this has been refrigerated. Little over 3/4 full. The reason why is that you want the pie to be full but not collapsing. Pretty good. And what we're going to do over here is with our toaster oven, we're going to preheat. I've got the rack in there. I'm going to preheat this to 400 degrees. There you go. Now, we're going to try to get this back together. I kind of want you to watch this. So we've got 2 lids and 2 pies, right? So I want to try to get this back together as easily as I can. Because at this point, it's going to start to get tough, which could work in our favor. Because it might be a better bottom crust. You know what I mean? So, go. You see all that butter fighting me? This is your friend, your pastry bench scraper, and then your bench flour. So I moved it on this side because we need it to get wider. Okay. Now you have suitable flour on both sides. It's already starting to fight us, so the playtime is over. You know when the playtime is over when it stretches. So now we're gonna cut this open. Get another one in there. You have to find a way to get it in evenly as you can. I'd say these are 8-ounce muffin tins, so they hold probably precisely 8 ounces. Go all in there. I'm just going to leave that because as you see how it's shrunk, we don't want to mess with it that much. So we're going to put this in like this. And now we're going to make 3 pies. I feel like in the end there's just going to be 6. 2. 3. Okay. Go. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is get some water. There we go. Take some water, moisten every edge pretty good, and then take the lid, press it down. Give us a second. We're going to press all the lids down. That's the buzzer telling us our oven is set to go. Go. Okay. Go. All in there. Mince it all around the outside edge. This too, all around the outside edge. So everything's sort of for sure all together. All right, so now this sort of slipped down. want that like this. There we are. So now you take this and you put it in a 400-degree oven for 20 to 25 minutes. This is 23 minutes. We'll see what happens. Beautiful, rough puff Australian meat pies. Look how beautiful. Straight out of the oven. Gorgeous flaky crust, beautiful meat pie filling, which I can attest to was delicious in spite of my aversion to Vegemite. I will be using it from now on in my mince. I'm a convert.